Now, before I get started, I want you to know that JavaScript is not hard. So, like somebody said in this class, he said nothing is hard. So it's not hard. Every time I'm only saying nothing is hard, and that's the truth because nothing is actually hard. So try to like just listen in class and give them more attention. So programming needs attention. It's very important. So so we're moving into JavaScript. And what is JavaScript and why do we use JavaScript? Now, from this definition, it says JavaScript is one of the core technologies of the World Wide Web. It is used to add interactivity, dynamic content, and special effects to websites. Now, understanding what JavaScript is and why it is so widely used is the first step in becoming a proficient web developer. You understand? So, what you are just doing is designing with HTML and CSS. To develop that design, to make it interactive, is what you mean. Is what makes you a developer. You understand? And how do you make it interactive? Use what? JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is a high-level dynamic, weakly typed, prototype-based, whatever the say. But it is a what? An interpreted programming language. Now, what it's saying is that it is a high-level language. Now, probably I didn't explain this, but in programming, you have two types of programming languages. You have high level and you have low level. Now, your low level is basically your machine code. So you've probably heard of computer only understands binary, right? Ones and zeros. And that's your low level. Some people are actually low level programmers. They understand those things. They like to suffer themselves. That's it. So there are low-level programmers. Now, JavaScript is a high-level programming language. You have a lot of high-level programming languages. You have JavaScript, you have Python, you have C++, you have then you have Dart. You have a lot of them. You have newer versions. You have Go. You have Rust. You have a lot of them. But we are focused on JavaScript now. Why do they call them high-level languages? Now, basically what they do is that, now, the truth is that you write these languages most of the time in English. Now, I think there are some newer versions that allow you to write languages in French, languages in other languages, even Spanish. I've seen Chinese before. But that's not the point. Point is, why do they call them high-level language? Your computer does not understand English or human languages. Now, what happens is that whenever you are writing JavaScript, JavaScript has a compiler that compiles all of those codes to what? Low-level language that your computer understands. That's why every language has a compiler. Every language has a compiler. So your JavaScript has its own compiler, has its own engine. Your Python has its own compiler, its own engine that converts whatever high-level language. Now, high-level means that what humans understand. You understand? Because we are actually high-level people. That's how we think. So what you understand gets converted into what? Low-level languages that your laptop understands. You understand? So your laptop will understand what you're saying. Do you get? Now that is what it means by what? High level. And it is dynamic, meaning that what you can use to build anything. So click on JavaScript. If you click on JavaScript, you should see JavaScript basics when you scroll down on the right. Have you seen it? Click on it and then you see it. Now, yeah, just sign up. But you can do that later. Now, when you see something is dynamic, you can say we're talking about it being multifaceted or multifunctional. You can actually build it in anything. You can use JavaScript for anything. You can use JavaScript to build game applications. You can use JavaScript to build web applications. You can use JavaScript to build mobile applications. For doing now with React Native. You can use JavaScript to even build dashboards. Sorry, not dashboards. You can use JavaScript to build desktop applications. You understand? Now that is why JavaScript is it's actually so useful. Do you understand? That is one thing about JavaScript. It is so useful. Now, When you have, when we talk about I think I explained this already. So high level language means that it's what abstract away many of what's compared to lower level and like C or C++. So C or C++ is actually still high level, but the reason why they call it low level or now it's not low level. What do they call it? Lower level. Now it is lower because it is what it is like an ancient language in the sense that newer languages now tend to like they are easily understandable to users or to people or to programmers. You understand? Now the way you will pick up JavaScript fast is not the way you will pick up CSS and C++ fast. Sometimes for you to understand C and C++, it take like years, a year, 2 years to understand the basics. Okay, not 2 years, a year to understand the basics of C and C++. So it's not low. I said it's lower. It is still high level. So let us check it out. So let's check for high, okay, high level languages, programming language. So we can check it out. So you have, as you can see, can you see it now? Examples: Python, Java, C++, and what? JavaScript. Yes, I. It's actually high level language. But the problem, C is like, the thing is that C is also high level, but C++ is just like a modernized version of C. You understand? So most times people even build with C++ these days because C++ is like a higher version of C. But it is like ancient. Not let me use ancient. Ancient is like it's like olden days, but it's not olden. It's not that old. But it is like um the newer versions of programming languages are now known as what higher. You understand? C++, you still have some similarities with low level languages. So there's sometimes that you have to define your memory in your C++. Like there's like a memory definition or something. That there's a percentage of playing C then. Have you been listening? All right. You understand it. I'll get back. I'll get back. So let me just finish what I'm saying. So what was I saying? Okay. Now there was a particular time that I actually forgotten. But basically, what C and C++ is that they are also high-level languages, just that they are probably not as recent as the newer languages. So languages like Python, JavaScript, they are newer languages. PHP, exactly, they are newer languages. So, but when you have C++ or Java, those are older languages that they've been for a very long time, and some of their syntax are similar to low-level languages. Now, I can you see this doesn't mean you okay. This means you don't have to worry about memory management. Okay, let's just keep it. Now, can you see what I'm saying? JavaScript abstracts away many of the complexities of lower level languages. You understand? So it is just saying that it is not as complex as what C and C++. That does not mean that C and C++ is also hard. This is not. But it is just what a little bit harder or a little bit complicated than what than JavaScript. All right. So TypeScript is actually still JavaScript, but the type version of JavaScript. You understand? So it's still JavaScript, but it is like a newer version of JavaScript that is based on type. Assembly is I like to tell people like the assembly is low because now let me explain. Well, I think you are lost now that you don't understand low level and high level. So I need your attention now from now. So high level language is language that human being understands. So if you are writing, you write most of your languages now in English, not English. I'm talking about programming language. You write them in English. Your JavaScript is written in English. So people are now configuring their own languages to even run on French or other languages. Now, low-level languages are languages that are only understood by your computers. So, for instance, your binary, that's a low-level language. Binary is actually a language. So, okay, binary is actually used in building low-level languages. Let me put it like machine codes or machine languages. Let me put it like that. Now, you now have your high-level language. Now, for your computer to understand whatever you are building with JavaScript, JavaScript compiler will now convert it to what? Low level. So if you are writing, my name is Esoe on JavaScript, there is a compiler that runs that converts that my name is a software to a what? To a lower level language that that's a machine code that a computer can understand rather. Now that is what high level and low level means. Now you talk about assembly. Some people will tell you that assembly is high level. Some people say assembly is low because there's also a little bit of you can understand assembly a little bit, but assembly turns your head somehow. But to me, I say it is a low level language. Why? Because anything that can turn my head like that doesn't deserve to be called a human language. You understand? But assembly, it can actually be classified as high level or low level, depending on what you're using it for. Okay, you have a question. Mm. Let us check it out. Assembly programming language. So as you can see, key characteristics. Assembly language operates very close to the hardware, offering fine-grained control over a system's. So, what kind of level is this? You understand? Low level. Some people will still say it is high level. So, it is a low-level programming language. I cannot accept that it is high level. That's below. You have a question?
Maybe have
that's what I want to explain now. Now, JavaScript is known as the language of the web. It was basically built for web. So it is just recently that people are now finding ways to like manipulate it to work on other platforms. So for instance, you have game development from JavaScript, you have mobile app development with React Native, you have desktop app development with Electron or Electron.js. Now, you now have web development with your normal JavaScript or React.js, depending on Angular or Vue, depending on your choice of framework. But basically, what JavaScript was built was web. Now, the reason why you don't have to install anything for JavaScript is because every website carries what? Every web browser carries what? JavaScript. For instance, your Chrome has a JavaScript engine called V8. So let us check it out. So we have Chrome. Now, all of these things they're important, but you don't actually necessarily. I just want to show you. So we have Chrome JavaScript engine. So you have your V8 engine. So if you check it out now, as you can see, the JavaScript engine used in Chrome is what's called. Now, what this JavaScript engine means is that what? It is like a JavaScript source. That this is what makes JavaScript run on a particular browser. Now, every browser has their own JavaScript engine. Why? Because JavaScript is just the language of the web. So you cannot have a browser that does not have a JavaScript engine. It's not going to run because 80% to 90% of all websites right now run on what? JavaScript. Or at least they are being converted to JavaScript. Because in the end, even if you build with any tool, there is still a way you need to convert it to JavaScript for it to run. Do you understand it now? So if your own web browser, if you are writing codes and you're trying to build a web browser, and you do not have a JavaScript engine, what happens? You will not have anything run on your website. Everything will just be showing not found. Because why? There is no JavaScript engine installed. Now on Chrome, the JavaScript engine on Chrome is what? V8. On Firefox, it is different. I don't really know the name. I think it is. Let's check it out. So if you have Firefox, so let's check Firefox. Firefox JavaScript engine. So it should be different from V8. Spider Monkey, exactly. So Spider Monkey. Now this is the name. Now they are just JavaScript engines built for what? These browsers for JavaScript to run on them. So the installation that you are doing on Python, probably done Python before, that you have to install Python. So you are doing on Python, all of these engines have done it for you. So all you have to do is what? Write your code in your VS Code and run your live server. Automatically, these engines will help you compile them for you and make it work. So instead of installing it, they have already been installed. Do you understand it now? That's why JavaScript is, they call it lightweight. It's a lightweight programming language. Easy to use, no installation needed. Is it clear? So that's everything about installing JavaScript. But There's sometimes that you've seen it in install things. That is probably where you now get to using frameworks. Probably are using frameworks like Next.js, or you're using libraries like React, or you're using frameworks like Vue, Svelte, a lot of them. So all of those things, they are can be easily picked up. So basically what you need to know again is what basics of JavaScript. Now, that is everything about it. Now, this is one that I want to explain to you before we move on. Then I'll explain why JavaScript is used, and I'll set up your development environment, and then we'll call it a day until the next class. So now, it is important to note that JavaScript and Java are what? Completely different languages. So I don't want to hear Java. There's no like Java in web. It is what? JavaScript. So they're completely what? Different languages, despite the similarities in their name. Now, why did they give it JavaScript? It's not mentioned here, but I'm going to explain it. JavaScript was first known as LiveScript. Yeah, LiveScript. LIVE and script. Now, there was a name before that for LiveScript, but the most popular name at that time was now what? LiveScript. They changed it to LiveScript. Forgotten the name. Now, and funniest thing about JavaScript that it was created in 5 days. Is it 5 days? Forgotten the distance. Is it 5 days or yeah, it was created in days though. Now, funny thing about let me tell you the history. You can go ahead and read it. JavaScript was basically what LiveScript. Then, as at that time, people needed it to be what? Popular. One of the most popular languages in the programming world then is what? Java. In fact, I'm very, very sure that before you even knew anything about programming, you knew Java. That time there were Java phones, Symbian phones that have Java games. Now, those were Java then. Now, that's one thing about Java was so popular that they needed people to understand that okay, there is a new programming language, but want people to use it. So they had to change from what LiveScript to what JavaScript. And after it became popular in recent, I think in 2009, they changed it from JavaScript to ECMAScript, or people still call it JavaScript. Now, ECMAScript is now like the modernized version of JavaScript, whereby you now have you still have everything in JavaScript, but you now have additional functions, which we all look at in the next 5 to 6 weeks. 5 to 6 weeks. Okay, 5 weeks. We have 5 weeks left, Jesus. In the next 5 weeks, we will also look at that. Now, that's one thing about JavaScript. So now it is called ECMAScript, but you can also still call it what? JavaScript, because that's like the general language. Now, why do we use JavaScript? JavaScript is an essential tool for modern web development for several reasons. Now, the first reason is for what? Front-end development. JavaScript is primarily known for its role in what? Front-end development. It's primarily for what? Front-end development, which involves creating user interface and what interactive elements of a website. So adds interactivity, so allows you to create interactive elements on your website, such as buttons, form, animation, and even games. Now I talked about games before. Now without JavaScript, web pages will be static and lack dynamic behavior. We remember when I explained dynamic and static. We remember. You remember? Eh? Now, in programming, not just web development, because you have two behaviors or two types of applications. The first is static, the second is dynamic. When you say something is static, static does not have any function. Example of your static website is what you are building right now. Your Web3. Is your Web3, are you trading on it? No. Are you doing anything? Are you buying or selling any crypto? No. It doesn't have any functionality. In fact, the highest functionality is probably going to carry is the menu button. Click, and then this thing opens, and then you close. That's probably going to be the highest functionality, right? Or do you plan to improve it? You understand? That is static. Now, when they say something is dynamic is saying that it now has functionality. At least you know that okay, this particular web page has a functionality. So, for instance, Jumia has a functionality. What's the functionality? To buy what's the name? Goods. And while buying things, you can add carts, you can clear cards, you can add favorites, you can remove favorites, you can filter good, then you can also log in and log out. That's what dynamic. It has functions. You understand? That's what JavaScript enables. Now, everything you've been creating is what static. Now, I'm not going to explain to you how you can now make everything you've been creating dynamic by adding functionality. That's what JavaScript does. So now you have what? Manipulating the DOM. Now, this is a topic I like explaining a lot. DOM manipulation, which we'll get to in JavaScript. Now, the DOM document object model DOM is a tree-like representation of an HTML document. Now, basically, your DOM is a what? It's your HTML. That's what DOM is. Your DOM is your HTML. When they now say DOM manipulation, what does that mean? If your DOM is manipulating what? HTML, exactly. Now, your JavaScript is used in what? Manipulating your HTML to get those interactive functionalities that you want. So if you have a button, you take that button to your JavaScript, manipulate it, give it additional functionalities, and then you what? That's that it then automatically adds the functionality. Now you've done DOM before. You can tell me where. You've actually done something on DOM manipulation before. You can just think about it. No? We did it. Just think about it. Whatever comes to your mind, say it. No. Try. Just try and now what I explained about DOM is what? Manipulating HTML. Where exactly have you manipulated your HTML? CSS. That's DOM manipulation. Now, you can now also manipulate the DOM in JavaScript. You've manipulated HTML in what? In CSS. Creating styles, creating a lot of things. The same thing you can do with JavaScript. Now, you now have Ajax. That is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Now, this now basically what we'll be talking about is these three things. Over the course in the next 5 weeks. Just these three things. I will explain to you interactivity. Okay, I can give your button this. I can give your button some interaction, all of those things. Manipulating your HTML, and then asynchronous JavaScript. Now, this is everything about JavaScript front end. If you understand these three things, you understand. Now, this is a very broad, trust me. But these three things, that's what you need to know. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML allows you to what? Make asynchronous requests to a server without reloading the entire page. Now, this enables you to what? Update part of the web page dynamically, improving the user experience while the name includes what? XML. Ajax is commonly used with what? JSON, which is JavaScript object notation for data transfer. Now, big English, let me simplify what I'm trying to tell you. When you're talking about Ajax, basically what it's talking about is request and response. I talked about request and response in our last class, if you remember. And I said, do you remember? I'm not getting any answer. Request and response. Do you remember?
That back in that
Good, good. You remember? Everything I say, take note. Very important. Request and response. Now, one thing about request and response is, again, like I said in our last class, every single thing about your web, about your software development is what? Request and response. You are sending requests to your backend. Your backend is what? Responding with the what? With the answer. Sending requests, responding. How do you send requests? First of all, if you ask for something, you have to wait for a response. Isn't it? That's what asynchronous JavaScript is talking about. Don't worry, we'll talk about all of these things in details. If you are sending response to the backend, how do you send response to the backend? Now, if you don't use asynchronous JavaScript, what happens is that it bounces immediately. So if you send something, it just bounces back immediately without waiting for a response. And that what gives you nothing. It gives you 404, not found. Gives you nothing. So what asynchronous JavaScript does is that what it allows you what send response, send a request, wait for the request to be seen, and what gets back the response. Do you understand it now? Now again, I'm just explaining the surface. You will understand all of these things. That's basically what request and response is. Now, asynchronous JavaScript makes request and response possible because you'll be working with API, and how API works is what request and response. So I'm sending a request to the backend through the API to what, get a certain data, and then what I'm expecting a response from what that same API. Do you understand now? So what am I going to use in sending the what the request? Asynchronous JS. Do you understand it now? So we're going to get there, and then we're also going to talk. Now, this is the backend development. We are not really interested in backend development. So now we have exercise. The exercise is what? Okay, I don't think this you can. If you just leave this, don't worry about this exercise. Now, setting up your environment. One thing about JavaScript is you don't necessarily have to set up much. Like I said, you have a V8 engine already running on Chrome. You have SpiderMonkey running on Firefox. You have a lot of engines. So you don't necessarily have to set things. So all you need to set is choose a code editor, which you have done, VS Code, right? So popular code editors, you are using VS Code, right? So choose VS Code, install VS Code, configure VS Code. Then now I want all of you to go ahead and install this what's the name? Extensions. So you've installed Prettier, install ESLint. ESLint. Now, wait, let me explain what ESLint is. ESLint is a linter that helps you identify and fix syntax errors and enforce code style guidelines. Now, Prettier, what does Prettier do? Helps you arrange your code to make it look better, right? ESLint. And just Prettier is just install and start. It's just Control S, or everything is going to automatically see it. What am I saying? You know what I'm saying? So if you have index of HTML now, and I have this moment. So let's say I have div, there's a data. If I save this up now, what will happen? What happens? No. No. What does happen? When I Control S, watch. What does happen? Automatically aligns. You understand? That's what Prettier does for you. So all you have to do is go to your extension and download Prettier. Now, we have time to do that because on Wednesday we'll be going into code fully. Now, one thing that I want you to do is go to your extensions and look for ESLint. Now, as explaining ESLint, first of all, I need everybody to calm down. I need to explain ESLint. Now, when you talk about ESLint, ESLint is a linter that helps you to identify and fix what syntax errors and enforce code style guidelines. Now, it is just for what fixing errors. There's sometimes that you have a lot of errors. You probably don't know what you did wrong. ESLint will provide you with what? With what's the name? With a solution. That, okay, instead of doing this, why don't you do it like this? You understand? And again, it makes your JavaScript look neater. So instead of I'm writing like codes that are very long, that they are very bulky, ESLint will now enforce what? A good code style guideline. Do you understand it now? Now, so I want you to what? Download ESLint, then download JavaScript ES6 code snippets. So then you have bracket pair colorizer. So first of all, search for ESLint. This is it, ESLint. Now this is the first one here. Install. So the second one is JavaScript ES6 code snippet. Yes, the one that has Microsoft. Yes. Yeah, if you have it, just leave it. Don't uninstall. Then you have the second one is JavaScript ES6 code snippet. Just search for JavaScript ES6. You see this one that has what code snippet. So go ahead and what install also. ES6 code snippet. The one with what? Yeah. So after that, you go ahead and download bracket pair colorizer. I don't even think I have this one. Let me check. Yeah, that's actually depreciated. Yes, no, that first one is depreciated. Just go for the second one. Bracket what? Yeah, this one that has Mohammed Tal as the that's what I'm saying. No. Yes, it's the same thing, but rainbow brackets gets popped up. So download rainbow brackets. Install rainbow brackets. Now, what do you do with this? Let me just explain it and then probably call it a day. So I explained ESC's links. Have you downloaded everything now? Yeah. Hmm? Yes, print. I do have picture. Yeah. Okay. Those stay. Yes. Yeah. Now, one thing about this bracket pair colorizer is that now this last one especially is not important. In fact, none of them are important, right? No, none of them are compulsory, but they are all important. I hope everybody heard what I said. They are not compulsory, but they are all important. And I'm going to tell you they are important. So there are some times that you want to know where your code is like, you want to know the opening and the closing of your code. So for instance, your CSS, if you open up a particular what's the curly braces and you close it up, it's probably blue, blue. They have yellow, yellow. You understand? You understand that okay, those are what the bracket pairs. They are both colored. You understand the colors. That's exactly what bracket pair colorizer will do for you in JavaScript. So you know the beginning of a particular code block and the end. Now, you have JavaScript ES6 code snippet. So what it does is that it provides us code snippets for so it just provides you code snippets. So probably it provides you like with just like what you've been seeing since for my own side. So in this place now, if I click enter, probably it's going to provide me with a snippet now. So let's check it out. Okay, but something was loading. You understand? So let me check it out. And let me see. It's not really showing. Okay, I'm using data, not D. So let's check it out. Let's see D. And let's check what it brings out. Okay, it's not actually bringing anything up. Welcome. Class. I mean, let me check. All right, but it's not bringing it's just showing that it's loading. I'm not bringing anything else. But there are sometimes I see snippets like just to show that okay, maybe it's just giving you like an idea of what you can do or codes you can write. And that's what this code snippet does for you. Now, ESLint is what just to make sure that you don't always commit errors. That's what ESLint will do for you. Now, understanding web browsers as developers, right? So this is something that you need to understand also. So one thing that we'll be using a lot is your debugging console. At least for like the first week, this week, we'll be using your debugging console a lot. Now, but first, we'll move into what? Web browsers. Now, web browsers are essential for running and testing your JavaScript code. Before your codes become live, I mean, before people will see your code, you need to first of all test whatever you built. But that's a sign of a good developer, that you've tested what you built and then it's working well. If it's not working well and you developed and you deployed it, you understand? That's you hosted it. Then that's also a sign of a good developer. It has to be working. Now, your web browser is now like an essential tool for whatever it is you are building for you to test it. You understand? So modern browsers come with built-in developer tools that provide powerful features for debugging. Again, what does debugging mean? Trying to solve errors. That's what debugging means. I need to get used to it. Debugging, solving errors. So inspecting elements and analyzing what performance. Now, of course, I think everybody is on Google Chrome. What we're going to be using the most is what? We're going to be using what we know as our console. So what am I saying? These are the things that you need to know. Elements. So if you have developer tools on Chrome, so your developer tools consist of a lot of things. Consists of elements, consists of what? Console, consists of sources, consists of what? Network, and consists of what? Performance. Now, the first one is element. I'm going to explain this and we're going to end the class here. Now, first is what allows you to what? Inspect and modify the HTML and CSS of a web page. What am I saying? So if I come right here now and I right click, if I right, what do you see? Inspect. If you click on inspect, you should see elements here. Now, I can even still inspect the HTML properties. Now, as you can see that some things are highlighted. Can you see that it's highlighted? So if I click on this now and I try to check, I can change certain properties. You understand? You can also what? Inspect your HTML elements from your what? From your browser. You understand? Now, that's the first one, which is what? Elements. The second one is console. Console displays JavaScript console messages. Now, we'll talk about this soon. Now, basically what it does is for what? Debugging. You understand? And checking out JavaScript codes because you're trying to log something out to the console. And where is your console? Your console is also what? Right here. So if you click on this page, you see console. Now, as you can see, there are errors. You can also use console to what? Check out errors, debug. Now, you also have sources, provides a debugger that allows you to step through your JavaScript code, set breakpoints, and what? Inspect variables. So probably provides what? JavaScript, probably places whereby you can easily check your, so as you can see, I can come to this place now, and then it's a website whereby I can use what? Debugging my errors. You understand? So sources provide what? Places whereby you can use what? Setting, how do I put it? Debugging your errors or solving your errors. Let me just put it that way. Solving your errors. Then we have network, monitors network requests made by browser, allowing you to what? Analyze the performance of your website. Then you have performance, profiles the performance of the website, helping you to what? Identify bottlenecks and optimize your code. Now, one thing you need to know as a developer, you need to be very good at optimizing your code. Now, all of these are things we'll still talk about. What do you mean by optimizing? Optimizing means that your code has to be better, your website has to be faster. Now, it's not miracle that when you go to certain websites, they are fast. But you go to certain websites that are very slow, extremely slow. Any website that takes more than 2 to 3 seconds to load is a very slow website. Any website that, okay, it is loading, takes 2 to 3 seconds, it is a slow website. You understand? You probably will now see a website that takes like 10 seconds to load. You understand? Now, you've seen Facebook, right? Facebook only take time. 3 seconds, you're probably seeing Facebook loading up. Maximum of 5 seconds, right? But you go to certain websites like, I don't mention it, so they will not. So you go to websites and then you're seeing like, it's only 10 seconds, 20 seconds, it's still loading. Now, it is not just network. It is because why? the optimization is not good. It wasn't well optimized. You understand? As a developer, you don't just write codes. Your code can put your website in trouble. Even though your code is running well, if it is running, there's probably an edit saying that says, if it works, don't touch it. It's a lie, I'll touch it. If it is not a well-written code, touch it. You understand? That is one thing about optimization. So in the next slide, we're talking about all of these things, and then see you in our next class, in our next JavaScript class on Wednesday. So try as much as possible to go through this even before the next class. Again, like I said, roadmap.sh is the best place for you to learn. Roadmap.sh and W3 schools. You can learn anything right here. And W3, you can learn anything in those two places. So go ahead and try to read about it. So that will be the end of today's class. Thank you very much for joining. See you again on Wednesday.